We love zombies, we love articulated models, so that's why we are going to talk about these models in this tutorial. Let's see how I sliced it. Hello guys, it's really good to be back with you in here. We are going to talk about articulated zombie models from Netflix. This drop is just released and we are going to let the link on the description, okay? Okay guys, those are the models that I choose. We have articulated models like these ones and also a keychain as this one. We are going to talk about most in here about configurations and settings for articulated models. So we are going to start with first layer settings, and before that some travel movements as well to keep those models, those prints safe. Another recommendation that I will do to you is to watch the video at Netflix that we talked about some adjustments on your printer. If you have printers like Ender 3, Neptune, or similar models, you can watch this tutorial and see how to adjust your printer to be all aligned and also to improve the movements of all axes of it. All right, we will provide this link on the description also. So in here, let's consider you have your printer dialed in. So now let's only talking about some settings. Something that I usually do, guys, to keep my first layer always in a good distance between the nozzle and the build plate, and with a good finishing in the first layer, is I keep my first layer height and also I keep my first layer extrusion width. I will change my standard profile so you can see that. Let's see. I only change the other layer heights of the model because the first one I don't need to change. This will help you when you set your for example, some printers have automatic bed level, so you set your Z offset in your printer, okay? So you don't need to change this distance because this is only to make some trouble. It will not help us at all, okay? So I never change my first layer settings, which is the height of the layer, the extrusion width, as you can see, and also the speed of the first layer. So I keep this always the same. So I only need to worry about the Z offset if your printer has automatic bed level, and also if you have a manual printer with the leveling like a piece of paper, you only need to level it once and then you keep those settings, right? So I recommend you strongly to do in this way, all right? Because if you change this, you have always to make some adjustments. You need to be careful about your first layer, and the height of the nozzle is always changing, but we only need to change the height of the layers in the actual model. In the first layer, let's keep the same. In this way, we will have always the similar adhesion that we want. And if you don't have yet your perfect settings for a first layer, is the time to find an amount of settings like, oh, for me works better with 0.16 layer height, 0.45 extrusion width. Okay, keep it and use it for every model that you are going to print. So if you didn't find the perfect settings, now is the time for do it. So if you guys want to start your tests with my recommendations are this one, 0.2, 0.48, and also 20 millimeters per second in the first layer speed. I usually go really slow in the first layer, okay? For some filaments as well that is important, the attachment on the build plate, I recommend for PLA, for example, 6 degrees as temperature for your build plate. For PTG, if you are going to try something, 80 degrees of temperature. And for ABS, if your printer can print this filament, I recommend something about 105 degrees Celsius, okay? In my case, I'm going to print on PLA, so I just keeping this. In the first layer, sometimes I usually go 5 degrees higher, so 65 will be a nice temperature in here. So that's my standard settings for PLA and first layer, which is really important for articulated models. I usually don't like too much to use brim in this kind of models because it's really tricky to get out the brim, and sometimes it's annoying. I don't appreciate too much to use the brim. But if you are having trouble and if you have some small parts on your model, would be nice. In this case, I think we have a good contact with the bed in here also, and in this model again. Let's slice it and see it. This is how our first layer will look like. In here, as you guys can see, we have some problems, in my opinion, in these hands. We maybe need some brim in these parts and also in here, but I don't like to put the brim in all model. So I will show you a trick that sometimes I usually do in this kind of situation. Let's right click on the model and we are going to add a part like a cylinder, something like this. And we are going to use this cylinder as a brim. How we are going to do this? Click on the generic cylinder that is going to show on your right side of the screen in here in this tab. And then once you click it, you can change the size only of this model. Let's enable the scale in here. And now we are going to put 0.2 as layer height, and I'm going to put just 15 millimeters as a small disc like this. And then you can click in this part, and now this is going to be on the build plate. And then I can put this in the side. I will put Ctrl C, Ctrl V for another one. Once again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. And I will put another one in here. But this one, I'm going to make it smaller, I think. We can do like 10 by 10. Yes. In this way will be better. And now let's slice it. Okay, guys, now we are going to have more contact only on those small parts of the model, like the hands and also the keychain, which is an internal articulation of this model in here. And now the second layer is going to be normal. And when finish the print, we can take this off with a tool or just by hand, for example, and this is going to be our fake brim. In Cura software, if you are a more experienced user, you already saw this as a plugin on Cura. You can put brim only where you want it. On Prusa Slicer, we need to do those tricks to put it. So I recommend you to do it this way. I would do it to be safer, okay? I usually don't like to put brim in all the model, just on the parts that I think is needed. Like in this one, and maybe in this part over here. Now that you know how to do it, you can do if you want. I will take my chances and print this in this way. And guys, another recommendation, you can turn on the ramping lift. This is going to be in the filament settings, filament overrides, and then you can enable ramping lift, maximum ramping lift, like 0.2, for example, and the angle. I'm going to put this in 20 degrees as a smoother ramping of the nozzle, of the movement of the nozzle when we are traveling. Let me slice it and show you. All right, guys, in here we have a little ramp as an example. So the nozzle, it's in here, like this one, and then it's printing, all right? And now it's going to move. And when it's going to move, make a small ramp of 20 degrees and then the travel movement a little bit higher than the height of the layer. Okay, this is going to avoid the nozzle hitting the piece. All right, so if you are not so confident about the alignment of your printer, you can turn this on. I don't usually go with this turn on every time, okay? Only in the models that I have a lot of pieces in the build plate, for example, and I just turn this on to be safer, to be sure, okay? In this case, for example, I have a lot of pieces in the build plate. I'm going to turn this on. But if you have just one articulated model on, and also if you are really confident about your alignment, you can print without this option, okay? All right, guys, I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you can get these prints right, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye. I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STLFlix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.